In the previous session, we already covered the connection of the JDK 11 version with the VS Code and run a basic program. And also we discussing the structuring of the code. What was the basic structure, what were the terms we are using, and all the things we are discussing. And also we discussed the terminology of the JDK, JRE and the JVM. Okay, right? Today we are going to discuss these topics of the data types, variables, how to read the dynamic inputs, and different ways of print state. Today we are going to discuss these 4 topics. If you want, you can note it the keywords also. Like normally if you are discussing or if you are in a class, just note it in a notepad or in a book or anything, right? Simply you are looking at the screens and seeing, it will be what was the use in that. So simply you can write, suppose if I am telling about the JDK, then you can note the JDK, then when you are practicing, then you can refer from the internet or anything, the terminologies, then it will be the good to you. Okay, right? Okay, first we start with the data types. Data types are nothing but why we are using the data types is Java is a compiler and interpreter type language. As a compiler type language, first it will compile your entire code, right? When it compiles your entire code, you have to intimate which type of data you are storing or which type of data you are using. First you have to intimate your compiler. For that purpose we are using the data types. Majorly in a Java there are the 2 types of data types. There are the 2 types of data types. Two types of data type. In that, first one is the primitive data types. Primitive data types. Second one is the non-primitive data types. Also we are calling this as a reference data types. Also we are calling it as a reference data type. Non-primitive data type or reference data type. These are the both we can call. Actually, what are the primitive data types are the basic data types in a programming language. Any programming language have these are the only 2 data types we have. One was the primitive data types, another one was a non-primitive data type. Primitive data types is nothing but it will stores the exact value. Suppose normally everything you are storing with a variable. Everything you are storing with a variable. Variable stores the exact values in a primitive data type. It stores the exact value. Suppose if you are storing like a stores exact values. That means suppose a equals to 10 you are storing. Then it means if you have to refer the a, then it would be only 10 exact value. If you are referring the a, it would be the value of 10. But in the non-primitive data types, it will stores in the form of a collection of data like arrays, strings, objects, collections. Okay, collection of data it will use. That means it will refer to the particular address of the data. It will not refer to the value. In the non-primitive data type, refers to the address or the reference, refers to the address or reference. Okay, but in the primitive data type it stores the exact value or refers the exact value. Stores or refers exact values. This is the major difference between the primitive and non-primitive data type. Primitive data types refers the exact values, non-primitive data types refers the references of the data. Okay? Right. What are the primitive data types we have? What are the primitive data types we have? What are the primitive data types we have? Those are integer, okay, integer, decimal, characters, and boolean. Decimal, character, boolean. Integers. Integer have also the different things. One was a short type. First one is byte, and second one is a short. Third one as a int. Fourth one as a long. These are the 4 data types we can refer in a integer type. In a integer type, we can refer in a 4: byte, short, int, and long. What is the difference among the 4 is byte has the capacity. Byte has the capacity of 1 byte. It can store only 1 byte. Its store capacity is 1 byte. 1 byte means it will be the 8 bits. Bit is nothing but a smallest unit in a memory. Bit is nothing but a smallest unit in a memory. Everything it has to be stored in a memory. If it has to be stored in a memory, the smallest unit is the bit. 8 bits you can combine, it will be a byte. Okay. Suppose normally if you are observing the network also, it will be show as MBPS or GBs, like a megabytes and the gigabytes. Smallest unit is bit. 4 bits will be the one nibble. Okay, 8 bits will be the 1 byte. 8 bits 1 byte, and 1 KB. 1 KB means 1024 bytes. 1 MB 1024 kilobytes. Okay, like that. You can be MBs, GBs. Those are the memory units. Like that. The byte range of capacity is 1 byte. That means if you are storing a data with a byte type, it has to range of storing the values from 2 power 7 to 2 power minus 7. Why 7 means normally 8 bits I am talking, right? The bit count will be start from the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in that way, your byte range of numbers, how it will be stored is minus 2 power 7. Minus 2 power 7. 2 power 7 means I think 128. So minus 127 to 128. These members of range it can be accepted. That means if you are trying to store a value with a byte type, you can be in this range. Beyond the range, you are not able to access it. That means it will not accept to store. I'll show it in a programmatic way. It's not an issue. First thing, how can I define or how can I decide it as a minus 127 is normally it is from minus 2 power 7 to plus 2 power 7. 2 power 7 value is 128, right? 2 power 7 value is 128. But why I am taking minus 128 7 is because here inclusion of 0 is there. Inclusion of 0 is there. Because of that I am decreasing from the unsigned int type. So it is from the minus 127 to the 128. simply it is difficult to remember these ranges, so you have to remember the bytes. If you remember the bytes, then you can know the bit count, then minus 2 power something to 2 power 7. Here minus 2 power 7 to 2 power 7. Why 7 is 8 bit minus 1? Why? Because the bits starting from the 0 to 7. That's the case. And the same way, short is of 2 bytes. Then it means 16 bits. 2 bytes means 16 bits. Then it will be the range from minus 2 power 15 to plus 2 power 15. Okay, minus 2 power 15 to plus 2 power 15. Same here, the integer as a 4 bytes. 4 bytes, that means 32 bits. Okay, 4 bytes, 32 bit. Next, long 8 bytes. Long is a 8 byte. Okay, long is a 8 byte. Fine. These are the 4 types of integers we have. Normally this integer is a wrapper class. Okay, integer is a wrapper class. Int is a primitive data type. Here I am discussing all of the primitive data types. Wrapper class is nothing but your primitive data type can be stored it as a one class or one object. Wrapping of your primitive data types is a wrapper classes. Here integer is wrapper class, decimal is wrapper class, character is wrapper class. Okay. In the decimal, next. In the decimal, one was float, another one was double. Float and the double. Okay, fine. Okay. In the long, one thing I have to forget to say, long value must be end with a capital L. Value ends with L. Why value ends with L is normally you have to differ it is a long. How can you say the type as a long is you have to store the value ending with a L. Suppose for the byte example, how can you use the byte simply as a byte? Suppose I can store a equals to 10. Like the way I have to declare in a program byte a equals to 10. Suppose if I want to store like a byte a equals to minus 129, it will not allow. Why? Because the range is lies from the minus 127 to 128. So if I want to store the minus 129, it will not store. Actually integer stores the whole numbers. I think all of you know what is the whole numbers. Whole numbers is from minus ones, negative numbers, positive numbers, and the including 0. Then we are calling it as a whole number. So integer stores the whole number. If it want to store a minus 129, it will not. Why? Because byte range is from minus 127 to the minus 128. Clear? Right. It will not allow. It will allow to the till minus 127. Same way. Short also the declare the same way. Short, same way. Int, int, you can store the negatives, positives, and the 0. And long, when comes to the long, value must ends with a L, right? Suppose you want to store the mobile number. If you want to store a mobile number, then it is not possible with a int category. Why? Because int range is from minus 2 power 2 to 2 power 32 to plus 2 power 31. Sorry, 2 power 31 to plus 2 power 31. So that means it will be the 10 digits. It will not able to store. So 4 number, all number starts with a 9 and all the something, right? So long a equals to okay, like that you want to store a number, then must it has to be end with a in the end you have to place the L. You want to store the long values. It will be the fine. You have to use the capital. You have to use the capital L at the end. Okay. Next, decimals. In the decimals, float. First thing is a float. Float is the capacity of size 4 bytes. Decimal is nothing but it has to be stored the decimal values. Okay, 4 bytes. And it has the precision of you have to store only the 6 decimals after the point. You can store only 6 decimals after the point. Okay, and value ends with f. Value ends with small f. Okay, example as a float f equals to 1.245 f. Suppose if you are not place the f, it will take it as a type of double. Okay, normally the difference between the float and the double is of 8 bytes. One was the size in the size. Difference is one was in size. Another thing is in the precision after the decimal. Precision after the decimal, after by using the double. Suppose d equals to 1.2345678 like that. You can use the precision higher than the 6 points. Okay, suppose you are using the float, it will only to the 6 points. Okay, precision is the difference between two things, 6, 7, 8. After point you can only able to store the 6 decimals in the float, but in the double you can store the beyond 6. Okay, right. These are the decimal types. Next, character. Char. Okay, in the character you have to use the char. Okay, fine. Char is the size of 1 byte. Char is the size of 1 byte. That means what the char it will store is char stores the character A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H within the single quote. Character must be stored in a single quote. Only single character you are able to store. Like a example of char ch equals to, you can use the numbers also here. It is also one character. Every keyboard key is a one character, but you have to use a keyword of a char, then you have to be use the single quotes for storing it as a char. Okay, this is a char type. 1 byte of memory, it will able to store the characters. Okay, next, boolean. Boolean is nothing but it has the two things. One was the true, another thing was a false. True, I think small, true, and the false. True and the false. These are the two data types we have. Okay, these are the basic primitive data types. first we'll see these basic primitive types in a programmatic way. Later we'll move to the non-primitive data types. Okay, in a VS Code. Okay, fine. I have already this one, right? In this I can create a file for the, normally you can use the any name as a class. That class name must you have to use here. Data type, normally you can prefer with a Pascal case. If you want to store, you have to store with a Pascal case. Pascal case is nothing but data is one word, type is one word, right? So D is capital, T is capital, Pascal case. Camel case means here all are the small, T only the capital. So simply I can use the this one. Okay, public class data types. In this okay, in this public class data types, I can use the public static void main string args. It is the basic thing as main is a entry point to your entire program. Why the main is a entry program is because of the static. We'll discuss at the time of methods and static and non-static references. I think in the next session we'll discuss it. Main, in the main method, suppose data types we have to do, right? So data types, suppose first we can go with the integer type, byte, a equals to 127 or 128. Okay, if you observe, in before I am trying to store the 128, it will throw an error. Why? Because byte has the only range of 127. Suppose I'll try to store the minus 128, then it will take. I think that means in before I am telling like minus 127 to 128, right? You can change it with the minus 128 to 127. It depends on the ID. Some will take from the negative side, some will take from the positives. So that is the range normally, 2 power minus 7 to 2 power 8, 2 power 7, minus 127. So I can store with the 127. I can print it here. Okay, Control S. Here, right click here, you can run Java. Here it will print 127, or else you want to print like a byte 127. Okay, it is a string and it is a value. Okay, it is a value. So that means you have to use the concatenate symbol plus in between them. It is an operator. We will see that in the upcoming sessions. Byte 127. Byte as a 127. We are getting the output here. In the same way, you can go for the short. The same way you can go for the short. Short is the range of 2 bytes. It will be easily store the 127. Okay. Suppose if you want to go for the beyond that 127.68, then it will throw an error. Why? Because it beyond the range. If you overrun it, type mismatch cannot convert from int to short. It is a typecasting concept. Okay. Int to short. Okay. So for that case, it will be store this one Same way you can go for the integer type. Okay, by using the integer it will not possible to store the a phone number. Okay, phone number is a 5 and the 5. Okay, it will not able to store the phone number. Suppose if I convert it to the long, then it will stores the, then it will stores. Okay, you have to know the which type of data you have to be used. Why? Because in a programmer he has to be focused on the two things. One was the memory, one was the time complexity. Suppose you want to use, suppose you want to store a value of a 10, you are using the integer data type, then you are using the space, right? Misuse of space. Integer value of a 10 you can store by using a short also. There is no need to store it with the int only. You are wasting of the space. So as a programmer you have to be focused on a space, and also you have to focus on a time complexity, right? That's the way. So you have to be remember. Suppose you want to store for the float f equals to 1.2456. If you are not placing the f, it will throw an error. Okay, if you are not placing the f, it will throw an error. So you have to use the f, then it will print. Okay, sorry, here I am changing to the f. It will be the float. Float 1.2456. Okay, next, suppose you want to store it in a double. If you are placing the f also, it will not an issue. If you are not placing the f also, it will not an issue. You can run it easily. Okay, float values and the doubles. Suppose you want to store the characters. Character is only the length of a single one. Okay, that means single length of a character. You are not allowed to use the multiple characters in a char. So it will not allow. You can use a character of A, or you can use a character of B, or you can use a capital letters, or you can use the special symbols. Everything is a character. Every keyboard key is one character. Okay, every keyboard key is one character. Like that you can store with the characters. Simply like in the way Boolean, right? Boolean f, already f I am using, right? F equals to true, okay, or false. Only two values you are able to store. One was a true, another thing was a false. Okay, it is also 1 bit. Boolean type is 1 bit, not byte and all the things. Boolean is 1 bit, either 0 or 1. Normally if you are storing like a true or false, but it will be storing like a 0 or 1. 1 is for true, 0 is for false. So 1 bit, Boolean value is 1 bit. Okay, these are the primitive data types we have. Okay, and remember the things. Okay, remember the things. Integer, all integer data types has a default value. Default value as 0. Default value as 0. Okay, remember the term. Default value for the integers is 0. For the short also 0, for the long also 0, for integer also 0, for int also 0. Okay, and comes to the float, default value is 0.0. That means for decimal values it will be the 0.0, and for the character it was null or space, okay, null or space. And comes to the boolean default is a true thing. Okay, once we'll check. Default value is nothing but, suppose you are declaring a variable, if you are declaring a variable, you are not assigning any value to that variable, then it will be store one default value. Then it was store one default value, that is default value thing. Suppose where it is here, I can store, then it will throw an error. If you want to store the default values, it will not be the reference variables. False. Default value of boolean is false. I am not assigning any false to the f, but it will print the false. It is default value. Suppose in the same way, if I store for the int zero, it will show the float, but it will be 0. I am displaying the text, right? So if you am using the float, then it will be the 0.0. Okay, suppose if I am using the character, empty space, you are not able to see the empty space, right? It was an empty space. Suppose how can I check it was an empty space is f char f char. It was with a empty space actually, or null I think. Empty space means it has to be display here the space between the character and the character. F will be the null. Suppose if someone asks at the time of interview or anything, if you are not know the default value, then you can check it in a programmatical way. They can give a laptop to you, right? So you can check in a programmatical way, then you can say default values. Or else if you are don't know the sizes of the data types also, if you don't know the size of a data type also, then also there is a option to check. Suppose I want to check the short dot size, (16). It will gives the bits 16 by 8, 2 bytes, right? Suppose you want to check for the long, here you can use the long. Okay, for everything what you want to check, you can use that one and check it. 64 by 8. 8 8 is 64, right? So 8 bytes. Then the same way, if you want to check the minimum value of the long, suppose we can easily find for the byte, right? So byte dot min value. Okay, what is the minimum value you can store for the byte? It will store the -128. -128, and you can check the maximum value. It will be the range, right? Minimum value to the maximum value. Minus 128 to 127 values you can store in between those. Here we are discussing the three methods. One was the size, one was the minimum value, one was the maximum value. If you are at default size, it will be, that means if you are using the size method, it will give the bits. You can convert bits to the bytes. Okay, divided by 8. Right. And these all about the primitive data types. I hope it is clear to all. Okay, we are using a lot. Next, non-primitive data types. Refers to the address or references, right? What are the non-primitive data types we have? First one, string, arrays, objects, and collections also is there one. We have the collections also. Okay, string is nothing but a collection of characters. We are talking about the string as a one entire session. Strings is a main thing. Strings is a collection of character. It will refer to the address. That is nothing but suppose the all non-primitive data types have no fixed size. It will depend on the data you are storing. Suppose taking the example of suppose I am taking one array a equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is one array. This length as a 5. This length is a 5. Why? Because it stores the 5 elements. If I refer to the a, it will store the address of the first element. Normally, if you are familiar with any other programming language, when they are talking with the arrays concept, they are try to accessing with the index values. A of 0, A of 1, A of 2, A of 3, A of 4, A of 5, A of 6. Like that, based on the indexes. Why they are using like this? Because of normally, I can show it in a better way. Suppose I have a variable or array of storing the values of 10, 20, 30, 40 and the 50. Like that it will storing the some values. Okay. This entire thing not stored in, it was stored in a continuous memory location. That means suppose this 10 is stored in one memory location. This 20 is stored in other memory location. This 30 not in a other memory location. Suppose this 10 starts with a storing of 100. Okay, start with a 100. That means A refers to this 100 location. A refers to this 100 location, not the value. A refers to the 100 location. Next, suppose these all are the integers. Then 20 is at the location of 104. Why? Because integer is of 4 bytes. So 100 plus 4. It will be the next memory location. Next, 30 is at 108 location. 30 is at 108 location. Why? Because it is after the, it was an integer type. So 4 plus 4. 104 plus 4. 108. Then it is at 112. Right? It is at the location of 112. And it is at the location of 116. Suppose if you are going to the any other program like C or Java, they are using the indexes of this is calling as A of 0, this is calling as A of 1, this is calling as A of 2, this is calling as A of 3, like A of 4. Why they are using like this? A of 0 means A is 100 plus 0, 100 plus 0. A of 1 means 100 plus 4 based on the data type you are storing. A of 2 means 100 plus 8. A of 3 means 100 plus 12. Why? Because it will storing the integer values. So 4 bytes everything into index value. So it will be the thing. It is the logic behind the why they are using the indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the logic behind that. Simply the reference variables or the reference data type refer to the address, like the variable A is refers to the 100th location, not the 10 value or 20 value or 30 value. It just refers to the 100th location. These primitive data types we are going to discuss in the upcoming sessions very well, when the concept of the strings, arrays and all the things, collections. Okay, just you have to remember it will refers to the reference or the starting location of the entire data, starting location of the entire data, not the actual values. Okay, a string is like a collection of characters. How can you store a string? Is simply string is a predefined class, str is a variable you can use, and hello, it is as our string. Okay, suppose if you want to print str, then you can write simply system.out.println of str, then it will print the entire hello, not the h, not e, not l, not o. It will refers to the entire location, so it will refers the entire string. You can to print the only h, then str dot char at of 0 indexes. Based on the indexes you can go, you can discuss at the time of strings concept. First you have to understand non-primitive data types refers to the addresses, not the values. Like the arrays also the same thing. Arrays, how can you declare the arrays is suppose data type int type of data I am storing, int arr or else int arr equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this you have to store the arrays. Objects are nothing but based on the classes we have to create the objects. Okay, it is the different thing, and the collections we have to discuss at the time of the collection. Okay, first you have to remember the thing, non-primitive data type just refers to the address of the location, not the exact values. That is the difference. Okay, and these are the major non-primitive data types you have: string, arrays, objects, collections. Okay, this is all about the data types. Data type means simply you are intimating to your compiler which type of data you are storing. Okay, next the concept of variables. Okay, the next the concept of variables. Variable is nothing but a container which stores the value. It is simply like a container stores the value, which stores sometimes refers the value, which stores or refers the value. It is simply like a container which stores or refers a value. Okay, normally if you are storing a data, how it will be stored is simply if you want to store a data. Okay, a equals to 100, I am storing the data. How it will be stored in your memory is in a memory. Suppose it is the one JVM. In the JVM of the space, it will be stored in a some particular space. In the some particular space of memory, it will be stores that 100 value. Okay, this 100 value it will store in a some particular memory location of as a suppose this is a one memory space. In this memory space it will be store the 100 value, okay, 100 value, this 100 value at the location of 1000, okay, at the location of 1000. Then simply your A refers to this memory location, A refers to this memory location, but when you are printing the A, sys out of A, then it will simply printing the value at that location, value at that location. When you are normally A refers to the address, but when you are printing that address or calling the address or using that variable, it will takes the values. It is a variable, okay, it is a variable, it is a value. Value is assigned from right to the left, okay, value is assigned from right to the left. A is a variable, it is a value what we have to be stored, okay. A is a variable and it is a value what you have here, declaring the variable value. And there are some rules to declare the variables. That is the major thing we have to be learn. Rules to declare variables. First one, variable must start with alphabets or underscore or dollar. Variable must start with alphabets, dollar, alphabets or dollar or underscore. Your variable must start with this 3, okay. Except this, you are not allowed to start with a digits or any other characters. Observe the term must start a variable, not contains, must start a variables, okay. This is the major thing. And must start with alphabets or dollar or underscore means it not allowed to start with a digits or any other characters, okay. So I am not including that. If you want you can include. Not start with digits mainly, okay, not start with digits, but in the variable it will contains the digits. That means in the variable name it will contain digits, but it will not start with. And other thing, keywords not allowed to use as variables. Keywords not allowed to use as variables. That means suppose true is one keyword, okay, true is one keyword, like the way static is one keyword, that you are not use it as a variable names. I think almost 32 keywords are there, you are not allowed to use. If is one keyword, else is one keyword, elif is one keyword, you are not allows those keywords using as a variable names. These are the main 3. Okay. This is about the variables. We already seen the variable. Variable is nothing but a one value. Suppose examples as example dollar ABC equals to 1 2 3. You can use this. This is the entire thing as a variable name. You can use this. Why? Because it will start with a dollar. So you are allowed to start a variable name with a dollar or underscore or character of alphabet. It will be the capital letter or the small letter. Everything will be fine. But If I am using like in the way of 1 AB equals to 1 2 3, then you are not allowed to use this as a variable type. Why? Because it will start with a 1. Okay. Yeah, in the other way you can use the underscore ABC equals to 1 2 3, or else simply you can use the ABC equals to 1 2 3. Okay, but you are not allowed to use this, or else this is the one way. Wrong way. Okay, and suppose true is one keyword, true equals to 1. If I try to use like this, it will also a issue. Why? Because true is a keyword, you are not allowed to use it as a variable name. Okay, suppose you want to declare a variable, normal syntax, general declaration of a variable is data type variable equals to value. This is the general way of declaration. Data type must be anything. It will be the short, it will be the byte, it will be the integer, it will be the string, or it will be the any other. Okay, it will be the any other variable name and the value. Okay, we are calling it as a compile time declaration of the variables. Okay, compile time declaration of a variable. Here we are declaring the variable value. Okay, how many ways you can declare a variable is suppose int ABC. Okay, it is the way, but here I am not assigning any value to this ABC. Okay, then here you can assign a value. Okay, this is the way you can do, or else, or directly you can do like a int ABC equals to 1 2 3. Okay, in a single line you can declare a value, or else in the multi line. Okay, these are the two ways. This is about the variables and data types. These are the two interlinked things. Variable which helps to store the values. Data types you are intimating. If you are intimating like this, means at the time of compilation you are telling that for this variable allocate the space of 4 bytes. You are telling to your compiler or the Java to allocate the ABC with the space of 4 bytes of memory. That's the purpose you are declaring with a data type. Must your variable declared with a data type. Okay, right. Next, reading the values. Dynamic input reading. Normally this is the way you have to be int ABC equals to 1 2 3, right? Suppose at the time of running you want to read the values. Okay, suppose I can create another file. That file is okay. Normally suppose I can have the main method. In that I can declare a variable of int a and int a equals to 154. Okay, int a equals to 154. Okay, suppose if I print this thing of a, if I run this program, what will be my output? It will be the 154. If I run that same thing for the hundreds of time, what will be my output? It will be the 154 only. Why? Because I am declaring the a with a 154. I am not changing the value. But For the every time you are running, you have to change the values of the variables, right? As a programmer, you have to be not declaring the values in this way. You have to be read the values. You have to be read the values from every time from the user. Then how can you do, right? Suppose if I run this now, $154. Again I will run this. Again 154. Again I will run this. Again 155 because I am not changing this. But every time when I am running, it has to be used for the other users also. Suppose if I developing a login page, it will be fixed with some username and the password. If another user also try to use it, then it will be the difficult, right? I am declaring with the hard-coded values. These are, we are calling it as hard-coded values. But every time it has to be changed dynamically. How can you read the dynamic values? Dynamic values is nothing but your data types, right? Integer A. How can you read the integer values? How can you read the decimal values? How can you read the strings? Those only, right? Int A equals to 1, 2, 3 means you are storing the integer value. How can you read that in a dynamical way? How can you read the decimals in a dynamical way? How can you read the characters in a dynamical way? Right? This is the thing. How can you read normally for the booleans? This is all the thing. Normally we are using the scanner classes for that. Scanner classes is a predefined class. It will be in your JRE. You are importing that into your local and use it. Right. First we will see. In the dynamic input reading, major things. Using the scanner class. Using scanner class, import from the java.util package. Java.util package. Okay. Next, and using the system.in. Using the system.in as a stream to making that scanner class into the reading mode. Okay. Syntax, how to do is simply, first you have to create scanner sc equal to new scanner of system.in. This is the first way you have to do. Scanner is a class data type here. Normally you have to use what data type, right? It is a data type of a class. Class data type. It is the object. Object means you are creating a new. When you are using the new, it will create the object. New scanner of, it is a system.in. You are passing it as a string to the your scanner class. Scanner is a predefined class. You are importing it from the java.util. Okay. You have to use this statement in your program and also import the scanner class. Okay. Control C. Scanner sc1 or sc anything, it will be the your wish. You can place the any name here. You can place the any name here. It is a variable, simply like a one variable. It is a data type of the scanner class. New this error is for you have to be import package is not imported. You have to import the packages at the top. Import java.util.scanner, or else you can simply paste the util.star. If you place the star, it will import the all necessary thing. Or else you want to particularly import one class, then you can go with the scanner. Okay, scanner. Fine. This is the way you have to be use the scanner class. Okay, this is the way you have to be use the scanner class. But the thing is, how to read the integers, how to read the floats, how to read the decimals, that means how to read the characters and how to read the booleans. Okay, first one, suppose here it is a integer, right? Integers, how can you read? Is sc dot next int. You have to store that, right? Where you have to store? In the a. In the a variable only we have to store, right? A equal to sc dot next int. Integers in this way you have to be read. Okay, save this and it will become, but I am not understand. I am enter the 123. Suppose if I run this again, okay, if I go with the 345, then it will print. Okay, suppose I want to print like a integer a. Okay, integer column a. Suppose you want to store like a ab, it is a thing, then you can place like a ab, or else you can use like a here ab. Okay, next int. Suppose, but I am not aware I have to enter that, right? I am not aware, but I want to aware I have to enter the thing, right? How can I aware? Is simply write one print statement to enter the things. Enter a integer. This is only for my knowing purpose. Okay, this is only for the knowing purpose. Enter a integer, so then I can easily find integer 234, right? For knowing purpose only I have to be write the statement. If you are don't know, that means if you are know, you have to place the cursor and enter it, then you can not place the statement also fine. Okay, here we are using the system dot out as an output stream. Here we are using the system dot in, because of we are intimating this it as a input stream. For that case only we are using that system dot in. Okay, fine. This is the way you can read the integers. Suppose you want to read the float, here only I can tell. Suppose you can use the, in place of println you can use the print. In place of println you can use the print. Then you can observe the change. After printing that, the cursor is at beside that. That means where the print statement stop of the printing, then only after that your cursor will be the start. Then after only your cursor will be the start. So here you can enter 1 2 3 4. Integer will be the 1 2 3 4. If you are using the println, next statement comes to the new line. If you are using the print, it will be in a same line. That is the only difference between the print and the println. Okay. Suppose you want to store the, or you want to read the float. here you have to use, suppose imagine the thing, here I am using the float AB, but I am trying to reading the integer, then I am getting the error or exception of input mismatching. Input mismatching. Observe this. It will store it as a 1 2 3 4. Why? Because here internal typecasting will be do. Why? Because float is the higher data type. So lower data type easily transferred to the higher data type. Because of that, we are seeing the typecasting in the next session. It will be inside. It will be convert. How can I show it to you? Is suppose it is as a float for a while, float, and how can you write the float values is or else save this and run this again. I can enter like 123.1. You are getting the error of input reading stack trace. Observe the error. What is the error? Input mismatch exception. You are writing the statement to sc dot next int of reading the integer type values, but you are entering the value of float. Then you are getting the error of input mismatching. Remember the term? When suppose you are reading the one type of statement, but you are giving the other type of data value, then you are getting the error of input mismatching exception. If you are trying to read other data type then mentioned, then you are getting the input exception, input mismatch exception. Okay. How to read the float values is next float. Okay, float values you can read like this. Float values you can read like this. No need of enter the f after this. Suppose you want to store the double or you want to read the double, then double, next double. It will not allow to store the float data type with the double. That is the error. Suppose then it is not error. Okay. Suppose you want to read the doubles, next double. You want to read the integer, next int. If you want to read the float, next float. If you want to read the boolean, next bool. If you want to read the boolean, next boolean. Next boolean. It will throw an error. Why? Because here typecasting is required. I'll do one thing. Okay, now it will not error. In the boolean you can read true. What the values we are mentioning in the before at the time of normally declared values, you can read it in a by using the way. Okay, suppose for the short, next short, for byte, next byte. for long, next long. Okay, for all the integers you can use the next in before that, and first letter as a capital. Okay, what are the methods we are seeing here? The methods what we are seeing here, for the integers, how can you read? Integer methods. Integer methods. For the byte, what is the method? Next int. Before you have to use the variable name. Sorry, next byte. Before you are using the variable name, it will be the different. If suppose you are using the SAC, then it will be the SAC. Next byte, the same way. For the short, next short. For the int, suppose you want to read the int, then next dot, next int. You want to read the long, then next long. You want to read the float, then next float. Okay, you want to read the double, next double. You want to read the boolean, next boolean. Okay, next another thing is there, character. For reading the character, for the char, you have to use a next of. Okay, there are the two methods. One was next of, another thing as a next line. Next of is for reading single character. Sorry. Okay, char, next of, char for the next. Suppose if you want to read the string, then next line, right? For the character next, for the string next line. There is one bug, or we are calling it as a one error when you are using a next line. We can see that now. Okay, next line or next, you can get some error. What was that error? We will see now. Okay. Suppose here I can store one int a. I am reading one integer value. A equals to sc dot next int of. Sc dot next int of. Here I can print the a. Okay. Suppose I want to read one character. Suppose I want to read one character char ch equals to, here ch equals to sc dot next of. Okay, simply ch equal to next of. Okay, control S, and here I can print plus character or plus ch simply. Okay, if I run this, run Java, suppose here I can enter an integer of 1 2 3. Sorry. Observe here. I am entering the 12, right? As like the mentioned, I am in the code. After entering the 12, what it has to be asked? It has to be asked for the character or a one string, right? One character or a string, it has to be asked. But it will directly print the integer 12. But it will printing the ch also. Ch is taken as a space. How can I say that it has a space? Is suppose I'll do one thing. ch plus a. Right. One, two, three, four. It will not take in the ch, and also it will not throw the error. Why? Because if I try to print that ch, then it has to be throws the error. Why? Because ch has no value, but it will not throws any value. Why? Because ch is reads for the character of the space, reads for the character of a space. Suppose you want to give a text of text space 1 2 3, text space n 2 3, one paragraph or the one statement you have to be read. Then it will takes only for the text, not takes the 1 2 3. That means next line has the scope or the operation defined for reading till the space as one word, till to the space as one word. When you pressing the enter here, when you are pressing the enter here, it will taking that as a character, it will be come to the next statement. So when you are reading a such type of things or a character or anything, what you have to do is first place one empty sc dot next line. Okay, first place one empty dot as a next line. After try to read sc dot right. Now it will asking for that. I can enter the ABCD space EFG. What it will print? ABCD space EFG, entire line what I am entering, right? The same way you can use the sc dot next. Okay, sc dot next. In the same way you can use the sc dot next. Control S, run this. 1 2 3 4 5, and I can enter the ABC space EFC. What it will print? Only ABC. It will not take the EFG. That means when you are using the next for reading the strings, it will take till to the space as one word, not takes the entire thing. If you are using the next line, what you are entering, it will take all the thing. But something you are getting, so place the one empty sc dot next line. Okay, before reading it, take the one sc dot next line. Wait a minute. Okay, for reading the characters, there is no way to reading the characters. You can read a string as a single thing or a single character, then you can typecast it for the characters. Suppose I want to store the characters. Okay, normally if I take this as a character, then if I want to store like this way, java.util. Finds the return complement, it will throws no such element exception or illegal state exception. What was the thing you have, it will do. Normally it will be read for the string, but you are accepting for the character, so it will not possible. So you have to typecast it. Normally you can read it as a string and typecast it. For that, what you can do is you can read for the next line. Here you can use a char or else so simply there is no way to read the chars, only you have to read the strings. String is also, suppose string has the only one length, then it will be a character only. So this is the way you have to be read. The difference between the next and the next line, both for the strings, not for the characters. But the difference is takes to the space as one word. Includes the spaces also. This is the simple. It will take till to the space and it will include the spaces also. This is the thing with the your dynamic input reading. This is the way you have to read the input reading. This is the methods, only the difference you have to be used. Okay. Next, print statements. Print statements. There are the three print statements. Println, print, println, print, and printf. Println, print, and printf. Printf is a format specifier print statement. Okay, there you have to use the format specifier to print the particular things. Print and println is the difference is after printing of a line, it will comes to the new line. After completion of the print statement comes to new line. After completion of the print statement continues with where it stop. Okay, after the completion of the print statement, it will start or begins with the where it will end of the cursor. And printf, in the printf you are using the format specifiers. What are the format specifiers is for the integer format specifier you have to use this percentage %d. For the float, percentage %f. For the character, you can use percentage %c. For the double also you have to use the LD. Percentage LD. For the string, you can use the percentage %s. Okay, percentage %s. First we will print something with a println, then you can observe the difference. sysout println of hello, control C and the control V, hello 1 and it is a hello 2, control S and run this. It will be print in a line by line. How I can write? If simply I can remove that ln, then it will be print from the single line. Why? Because first it will print the hello, here the cursor will be stopped, again this print statement continues from here and it will comes to here. Suppose here in between this I can use the print ln, then it will print like a hello 1 in a single line and hello 2 in a new line. Why? Because after this print statement it will comes to the new line. Hello 1 as a single, hello 2 into the new line. Why? Because here I am using the print ln statement. It will be comes to the new line. Now you have to use the printf. Suppose I have a variable of int a equals to 10. Okay, sysout of printf. Here I have to use the string. That string is suppose integer. Normally you can use string is nothing but a format specifier you have to use here. I want to print that a percentage %d comma a. Suppose you are familiar with the C language, then it is easy to understand. 10. Suppose if I want to print some text, integer colon percentage %d. Okay, format specifier you have to use. After that you have to use the declared format specifier. Suppose I have the another thing of string or the float. Okay, float ab equals to 1.1 f. Okay, after this space what I have to do is percentage f comma ab. Okay, these are the format specifier you have to mention here. These are the variables what the related format specifiers you have. Suppose imagine a case I am mention the format specifier percentage %d percentage %f. Suppose if I print like a ab comma a. Okay, then it will throw an exception. Why? Because it is a percentage %d, but here it has a percentage %f. So what the way you are using the format specifier, that is the way you have to mention the values also. Okay, right. suppose in a float value you have to mention only the, suppose I have a 1 2 3 4 5, okay, you want to mention only the two decimals after the point, then you can use the simply this one dot 2 decimals you want, right? So dot 2f. Suppose you want the 3 decimals, dot 3. Normally in a, you are participating in a online codings and all the things, their output may be in a some decimal points, in a 4 decimals or in a 5 decimals, round off to the, then it will be the way to round off things. It will print the 3 decimals, right? This is the another way of print statement, format specifier string. Then you have to use the format specifiers of the percentage t, percentage f and all that. Normally in our entertaining we are using the println only. Okay, you have to know that print statements, that is the thing, right? Clear.